Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. I have a great article here for you guys from Data Center Dynamics. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So, as I said in my predictions video for T-Mobile, three deals that we know are happening for sure that we don't have to make a prediction on anymore: Lumos, Metronet, and US Cellular. T-Mobile US Cellular deal is progressing well, on course to complete next year. The company says its Lumos and Metronet deals are also set to close next year. So T-Mobile is going to have a very, very busy 2025. Right when these deals close, T-Mobile has integration periods that they have to go through. The Lumos and Metronet deal is more of billing integration and branding and T-Fiber and everything on that. US Cellular is probably going to it's going to keep them the busiest. That's an integration of networks that they have to go through. They have to go back to 2,100 sites, upgrade, add T-Mobile equipment, right? They got to go through the same, very similar, if not the same, that they did with the Sprint merger, just at a far lesser scale, right? The Sprint merger was a huge, that was huge scale. I mean, that was a full. They pretty much acquired a full-blown fourth carrier. Right. I know they called it a merger, all stock deal, but they pretty much just acquired the fourth carrier in the United States. So that was a huge, large scale, kept them very busy. This one, much less scale, much smaller. So 12 to 18 months of an integration period. And then T-Mobile will have an even larger network and slash better, right? Some of these sites, they're going to be coverage sites. Some of those US Cellular sites are going to be fill-ins where there's better densification, extending the signal further, right? But regardless, it's going to lead to a larger and a better network for T-Mobile in those parts, right? Some of those states are going to be Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, California, and several others where T-Mobile is going to gain and get better. And you best believe T-Mobile has already been talking to the US Cellular engineering team, and they've gotten all the maps and everything together, and they know internally where the US Cellular keep sites are going to be, the ones that they're going to upgrade and that are going to benefit T-Mobile the most. So T-Mobile, prior to this deal, added 500,000 square miles of coverage in small market and rural areas. That's what T-Mobile did natively. Possibly some of those, or a good amount of those, were Sprint keep sites that helped them grow that coverage. And some they had to literally build brand new. So this US Cellular deal is a step forward for T-Mobile, right? Quite a bigger one, right? They could have maybe bought some other smaller players like Viaero and maybe C-Spire, but they decided to get about 70% of US Cellular's business, which is probably the smarter play here. Right, as an example, Verizon is spending $9.6 billion on Frontier, and they're getting those assets, which is great. For a similar spend, right, T-Mobile is setting aside $10 billion already pre-funded for two fiber players, Spectrum, and then US Cellular, right? And the two fiber players, it's Lumos, Metronet. So who's getting the bigger bang for the buck? It's got to be T-Mobile. They're getting more assets for a similar price or the same. I think Verizon's was like 9.6 billion. T-Mobile spent 10, so about 400 million difference. But yeah, it's a good time to be at T-Mobile, right? I'm no stock expert. I'm no financial advisor, but I'm sure shareholders are excited. Investors should be excited as well. T-Mobile's already fiercely competing. They're trying everything to still remain the value player, differentiator, even though pricing is closer than it's ever been. And in some cases, T-Mobile is more expensive. If you choose to go 5G next, I mean, the $5-10 difference on taxes and fees included, I mean, that doesn't matter anymore, in my opinion, right? So now it's about network. Right, and I want to close out the network on, this video on that thought. It becomes about network. If pricing is as close as that, right? If you look at a comparison chart, T-Mobile right? You might save 25 bucks if you do 3 lines, because T-Mobile does a line for free. But if you go to the 4th line and you choose Verizon's Unlimited Ultimate and you choose to go 5G Next, that $5 difference after taxes are included with Verizon. I mean, you have to be thinking about network. Is this network worth the cost? And if T-Mobile doesn't cut it for you and you choose the same high-end plan for Verizon, yeah, you might be paying that $5-10 more, but you get the better coverage. You get the more extensive network, right? You got to be thinking about that now. In the past, it was tougher to make that decision because T-Mobile was significantly cheaper. You might have been paying like 8-9 lines, $100 and $150 less on T-Mobile. But now it's closer than ever before. So now it's also on T-Mobile to really make sure that their network is really, right, in reality, really being built, optimized, tuned, everything to really match up to the performance that they're charging. They're charging a lot of money, right? We want to be clear about that. The Go 5G Next is a very expensive plan. I don't care about them giving you a 3rd line for free and everything included, whatever, Hulu, Netflix. That's great and all, but the Go 5G Next, that's an expensive plan. I don't care how you view it, how you look at it. It's an expensive, premium wireless plan in the industry. So the network has to be up to par. I don't think there's anything up for discussion here. If the network does not meet your needs, if I see you in the comments and you say, hey, you know what, I use T-Mobile and it doesn't stack up in this part of the country, westernness, easternness, switch. Go to Verizon. The pricing is similar, right? And you might, depending, right? If you look at it, that's still, to this day, I'll call it out, it's still a weakness for T-Mobile. If you do mix and match on Verizon and you really analyze the lines and you look at who's using each line, you might even get a better deal, like a cheaper deal. All the lines don't have to be on the Unlimited Ultimate to get some of those perks. It just has to be one. And then your 2nd and 3rd line can be on the Welcome, so on and so forth. So you might be able to structure a better deal that way. T-Mobile does not offer mix and match. So you have to have all your lines on the Go 5G Next, all your lines on the Go 5G Plus, and everything else. It has to be on the same plan. So keep that in mind as we go into 2025. 3 big deals are set to close for T-Mobile. 2 fiber players, JV players, 50% stake, and then the U.S. Cellular deal, they're going to get about 70%, which is going to drive their network in the right direction. We just want it to continuously get better. If you're on T-Mobile and you're paying a good chunk of money, you want the network to get better, right? In your neck of the woods, wherever you're traveling, but you also want to know, right? Even if you don't go there, but if you did, you also want to know, hey, is T-Mobile getting better at the airports if I want to travel? Is T-Mobile getting better in rural just in case I want to, I don't know, go skiing or go to a ski resort, whatever the case, right? Are they getting better, right? And some people, that really that's really peace of mind, right? And some of you might have gotten more peace of mind when you heard about the U.S. Cellular deal. You might have thought, okay, T-Mobile's going to get better within 12 to 18 months, and then after that, you know, they're maturing, and then the network might get even better as they continue to build natively. And who knows, maybe they buy C Spire or Viaero or somebody else. You know, you never know. So I just wanted to talk about that. 3 deals set to close in early 2025 in the first half. Gonna keep T-Mobile busy. The U.S. Cellular deal is going to be funded by synergies. Keep that in mind. So none of the CapEx is going to go towards that deal. It's going to be funded by all synergies, and then T-Mobile gets to the integration work in the 12 to 18 month period on updating the tower sites, the U.S. Cellular tower sites with T-Mobile equipment, and then of course T-Mobile has to optimize and retune the network, and then the coverage will get bigger and better across those states that I mentioned. I think mainly those states, right? There's some other states that I think Oregon, U.S. Cellular operates in. T-Mobile might keep a few sites there. But I think Iowa, I think parts of Illinois, Nebraska, and then Oklahoma, especially I think it's northern Oklahoma is where T-Mobile is going to probably keep a good amount of U.S. cellular sites. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.